Welcome to the Harmony Channel. Jason Whitlock here, joined by my ride or die, Shemeka Michelle. Shemeka, welcome back to the Harmony Channel. We got a lot to discuss. Kanye West has a new song out, Heil Hitler. He's clearly trolling the Jewish people that he believes have destroyed him. This has sparked a lot of conversation across the internet, some unexpected conversation across the internet, including Michael Knowles at the Daily Wire had something interesting to say. But let's play a small excerpt from the song Heil Hitler, and then we'll hear what Michael Knowles had to say about it. Let's play SOT number 16. So I'm old. I don't listen to rap music anymore. I didn't go too deep on this. Just the use of the N-word off-putting to me, even before I got to the Heil Hitler. And I can't even say I know Heil Hitler was something they said over in Germany. I guess that means Heil Hitler or whatever. But before we hear from Michael Knowles, who I thought had a pretty interesting take, what was just your initial reaction to Kanye putting out this song and video?
Initially, Jason, I thought, okay, Kanye is drowning and he's just doing whatever he can to attract attention. That was my initial thought, because I heard the sentence that said, yes, I am a cuck. I like when people F-U-C-K on my B-I-T-C-H. And I was, what? What is he saying? So that was my initial reaction, like, here goes Kanye again.
That was part of my reaction. That was one of the things I could make out, because some of it I had a hard time understanding. I didn't even get the initial reaction, or I didn't even, the Heil Hitler thing, I didn't know that that's what he was saying when I first heard the song. I'm not trying to be naive. I didn't know the name of the song, and so I just heard it, and I couldn't make out what he was saying. But anyway, that was my initial reaction. And then I watched Michael Knowles. He had about an 8-9 minute video. We're only going to play about 2.5 minutes of it. Mike works for the Daily Wire, had a more intricate breakdown of it that kind of caught me by surprise. Let's play SOT number 17.
Notice how he's opening up. He says, I got so much anger in me, I don't know how to take it out. Then he talks about my nitrous, which Kanye West is reportedly addicted to nitrous, which is a very, very serious drug that really screws up your head. So right off the top, he's saying, I got so much anger in me, I don't know how to take it out. I'm not acting rationally, I'm not acting logically, I'm just so full of wrath and anger, which are bad. Those are vices, deadly sins. And I'm hooked on drugs, which are poisoning my brain. It's really screwing up all my logical thinking. And it's all because I can't get my kids back, and I'm just totally losing my reason, and I'm just becoming a ball of wrath. Because we understand taboos on this show, and we're a family show, you know, we don't like to use a lot of naughty words. I'll just say the word ninja. I think you know what word that refers to. So he says, they don't understand the things I say on Twitter, ninja. All my ninjas, Nazis. Ninja Heil Hitler. This is a paradox, right? These are contradictory things. All my ninjas, Nazis. Now, how are the ninjas? Refers to black fellas, by the way, if you didn't interpret what the word was. How are ninjas Nazis? The Nazis view black people as subhuman. The Nazis viewed them as Untermenschen. They're subhuman. So how could a ninja be a Nazi? It's not It's not possible. The exoteric meaning of the song is not possible. It doesn't make any sense. So Kanye's either a nut, yeah, maybe, or he's saying something else beyond the exoteric meaning. It seems to me that the introduction to the song actually sets that up. Because he's saying, I'm not in my right mind. I'm not thinking logically. I'm just full of anger and wrath and sin and vice. And I'm the villain. So Heil Hitler, I'm a Nazi. I became a Nazi. I'm the villain. Right there off the top. He's not saying Hitler is good. That's how this is going to be reported in the press. That is how Nazis are going to take it. And that is how the Kanye haters are going to take it. But it's not what he's saying. Right there off the top, he's saying, I'm bad. I'm doing bad things. I'm not being smart. I'm not being logical. I'm not making any sense. I'm bad. I'm a villain. That's why I'm a Nazi. In other words, the Nazis are the bad guys. And Hitler's the bad guy. And I'm the bad guy now.
Fascinating breakdown by Michael Knowles. I didn't go that deep into the lyrics. He obviously did. I'm just, I'm so dismissive of rap and have been so fed up with Kanye. But I actually think Michael Knowles' explanation makes some sense. And maybe Kanye is being a bit more clever than what people want to give him credit for.
Yeah, that's what I came to after my initial reaction, that Kanye is actually just sparking a conversation. I do think that Kanye has a way with words, and he knows that he has the ability to be the topic of conversation. So I don't see it even as he thinks that he's bad. I think that he's saying Hitler was portrayed as bad. And so now people are trying to portray me as bad just because I'm angry that they've taken my kids, and I'm angry because of what I felt like these people have done to me. So they're going to try to paint this picture of me as if I am bad because I have these legitimate reasons for being upset, these legitimate reasons for being angry. They took my kids. They froze my bank account. They don't understand when I'm talking on Twitter, which I thought was hilarious, the way Michael Knowles tried to say it like Kanye. Twitter sort of rhyme with the N-word. I thought that was really hilarious. But I think that's what Kanye is saying. He's saying, I'm angry and I have every right to be. I feel like Kanye feels like he has the right to be angry, and that people are trying to paint him as this mean, evil person, as they did Hitler, when there are some people that feel like, although Hitler did terrible things, he wasn't to the degree that people have made him out to be. And I know I may get in trouble for saying that, but I think that's what Kanye is trying to say, that he has a right to be mad.
Well, let's all get in trouble here, and I'm sure I will as well, for just trying to explain the song and have the conversation. But I think if we go with Michael Knowles' explanation, which makes sense to me, and I think Kanye is saying, you made me this way. That, and these situations, what I've been put through, have made me this angry, villainous person that you all are comparing to Adolf Hitler. And so you made me this way. I'm going to lean into it. And it's it's interesting where we're at, because almost any discussion of Jewish people, any discussion of World War II, any discussion of Israel, unless you say Jews are the chosen people, Israel's the greatest thing in the world, and Jews are responsible for no bad outcomes, unless you say any of that, you run the risk of being called anti-Semitic. Just even having a conversation about Kanye, one of the most popular artists in the history of music, even have a conversation about this highly controversial song, is like, how dare you? You're forbidden from even acknowledging this, that it happened. You're anti-Semitic. And and for me, this is where it falls short for me and for others, is like, I hate rap music so much for the way it has demonized, villainized, degraded Black people without any bans on the music, without any much pushback over the last 20, 30 years. You can say, again, Dej Loaf, you remember the female rapper Dej Loaf that was hot for a minute, 2014, 2015? She had a popular song called Try Me, where one of the lines in it was, I really hate ninjas, I'm a Nazi. This song was celebrated, I believe, in Rolling Stone as like Song of the Year. And the whole song was about try me and I'll do something to you ninjas. And, you know, literally one of the direct lyrics, I really hate ninjas, I'm a Nazi. You can say that, but if you reference Hitler without denigrating him, or as Michael Knowles explained, he actually was denigrating Hitler, but just not enough. Oh, you're anti-Semitic, and you can't say that. It's when you're being gatekept and your thoughts and words are being policed that much, you're going to create backlash and animus. You tell people, oh, you can't do that, you can't say this, you can't do that. People are going to start asking, well, why can't I? I can say almost anything else, and I can say almost anything, and particularly about Black people. And, you know, I'll be performing at Super Bowl halftimes. I'll be on Snoop Dogg's on virtually every commercial of any TV show, whatever's the most popular. But you say Heil Hitler in a song and bank accounts get shut down, all of your music is banned on every platform. It's pretty amazing. I want to play you a clip from Matt Gaetz, the former lawmaker. He had an interesting comment. Again, this conversation about Israel and Jewish people is going everywhere, to even Matt Gaetz, who did Trump want to make him Attorney General, if my memory is correct? Here
Yes.
he is in a recent interview. Yeah, this is a short clip. Let's play SOT number 18.
If I want to get into government, do I have to support Israel?
You know, the Israel lobby has an incredible power over the decisions that government makes. And what we've seen is on the left or on the right, if you question the policies of the Israeli government, legitimately, people will accuse you of anti-Semitism. And that is weird and wrong and kind of unlike anything else we see anywhere else. Now, there are legitimate expressions of concern regarding the anti-Semitism that we see on college campuses. But I got to tell you, no one's asked me the question that directly. And the truth is, if you oppose the U.S.-Israel relationship, you face tremendous headwinds to get into government, not just appointed government, but elected government as well.
When someone like Matt Gaetz is having that conversation publicly, it's like the Overton window has really widened and changed, and there's a very previously unauthorized conversation. And again, we did today's show on the main channel about Black fatigue, and I'm saying there's a Jewish fatigue that is also prevalent, and people are starting to say really what had previously been politically incorrect things about Jews publicly. And I don't know where this ends. I do know the strategy of claiming racism or anti-Semitism just doesn't have the effect that it used to have. It's not silencing people the way it used to.
Yes, Jason, it's absolutely exhausting. You know, you take someone like myself, I was raised here in the South. I was raised around predominantly Black people. Anybody that wasn't Black to me was white. So I didn't even know the difference to say, oh, they're Jewish or they're German or they're Italian coming up, because I was raised around predominantly Black people. If I saw someone else, they were white. To me, we didn't have a lot of Hispanics around that time, especially in the neighborhoods that I grew up in. And so when I actually became an adult and I'm getting familiar with all the different terms and all the different groups, and this person doesn't like that person. If you say something about this person, as you said, you're anti-Semitic. That stuff was foreign to me. I had no idea. I told a joke about a Jewish person on Twitter, and people just acted as if I was Adolf Hitler myself. I thought it was funny because, as you said, we've listened to rap music, say whatever they want to say about Black people. You can say the N-word, you can call women bees, you can call them hoes, and it's no big deal. And for a lot of these people sitting in these executive positions, I'm finding out, are of Jewish descent. And so when someone such as Kanye says, hey, that's a problem, and people say, oh, yeah, wow, we do see that, we do notice that, and then you have all of these people constantly screaming victimhood, it's tiring. And I think that's why you have the Black fatigue. That's why people are getting exhausted about this whole Jewish narrative, because we're just tired of people playing the victim. If something is true, it just is. We don't get to sit and play the victim when people say, oh, 67% of Black children are born to single parent homes. We don't get to just sit around and cry. We have to accept that as the truth, because it is, and then see what we can do as individuals to turn that around or to make a change with that. And so when you get to see Jewish people sit and whine and cry, we're just tired. We're tired of everybody playing the victim. If it's true, it just is. If it doesn't apply to you specifically, I'm like Johnny Cochran. If it doesn't fit, you must have quit. Like, if it doesn't pertain to you as a Jewish person, it just doesn't. If it doesn't pertain to you as a Black person, it just doesn't. But to sit around and cry and play the victim for things that you've actually had no part in personally, I think everybody is tired of that. And I see what Matt Gaetz is saying, and I understand what Kanye is doing. Let's have the conversation, because where a lot of us are Black fatigued, a lot of people are Jewish fatigued, and Kanye is one of those people, and he's saying, you know, he's stepping out there, and I wouldn't necessarily call him a martyr, but we've seen his businesses be ruined just for saying things that you can't say. And there's like some type of quote that says, when you find out who you can't talk about or something like that, that's your ruler, that's who rules over you. And that's what we're seeing now. You just can't say some things about Jewish people without them coming after you.
People won't believe, I've shared this privately with people, but I was so naive and grew up, and maybe I've said this on the show before, but I didn't even understand what being a Jew was. I really didn't, till about 5 years ago. And that sounds crazy. I'm 58 years old, and I did not understand the Jewish faith until about 5 or 6 years ago. I sincerely thought, that Jews were some sort of special level of being a Christian. That's what I thought. And I went down and spoke. I think I've shared this story. I think it was David Horowitz had some convention down in Florida. They invited me down, cut me a $10,000, $15,000 check to speak or whatever. And I know when it happened because it was right before Roll Call 1. So this had to be 4 or 5 years ago. It's 6 months before Roll Call 1, because I basically previewed the speech that I gave at Roll Call 1. I was giving that speech around that time about how we need to put Jesus into the game. That we're not leaning into our Christian identity. We're not leaning into our Christian faith. And we got Jesus, our best player, on the sidelines. And I gave this speech down there, and afterwards, I came off the stage and I got swamped by people surrounding me, upset that, like, why were you talking about Jesus so much? You don't like us? And I was like, what? I don't like who? You don't like Jews. Why are you talking about Jesus so much? And I'm telling you, I didn't know what they were complaining. I was like, Jesus was a Jew. What are you talking about? I'm not bad-mouthing Jews. I'm talking about Jesus. He's a Jew. And I had to go home. I had to ask people, like, why are they? And that's when I learned that Jews don't see Jesus Christ as their Savior. And I'm sorry that I was that stupid. And and then I looked up, someone sent me a Ben Shapiro clip of him talking about Jesus burning in a vat of excrement in hell. And I was like, this is what they think? I had no idea. And then a light bulb went off and I started replaying relationships. And I had a friend when I was in Ann Arbor, Michigan, very good friend. And, maybe he mentioned that he was a Jewish guy, but I just thought of him as a white guy. I want to be careful because I won't give out his last name, but his name was Jeff. He worked with me at the Ann Arbor News. And years later, we fell out because I don't allow my friends, I don't allow anybody to call me the N-word. I don't like when people use the N-word around me. We're on a phone conversation and Jeff's dropping the N-word. And I'm like, dude, you lost your mind. You know who you're talking to? What are you doing? And I was like, hey man, don't do that. Homie, don't play that. And he did it again. And I got off the phone and I've never spoken to him since. And he's a Jewish guy. And I've never had anybody that blatantly just want to use the N-word in my face, even when I objected. And I'm so frustrated. His name's Jeff Sharon. And I've never spoken to him since. And then when I replayed with this additional knowledge, like my experience at Fox Sports, I had problems with Jamie Horowitz and his desire to control me and how he wanted me to present myself on TV. And I'm like, man, I'm grown. I'm older than this dude. I'm grown. I've established in this business. I'm like, I'm not playing this buffoonish role on TV. I'm not doing it. And we had great conflict that ended with him getting run out of there on sexual harassment. But I just like this desire to control what I think and what I say. It was Jamie Horowitz. Maybe this isn't all, I'm just citing a few examples, but again, when I've addressed a conservative white man, say, hey man, this is how I need to be treated. This is what I will and will not. Cool. They're like, hey, no problem. And they'll say, this is how I want to be treated. And I'll say, okay, cool, no problem. But I haven't, these issues, and not that I haven't had some white alleged conservative people where I had to, hey man, don't use that word around me. But everybody seems to respect that. The whole thing, the situation has been baffling to me. I was very naive and I didn't understand that their faith that differed from the Christian faith. I had no idea. But we're not allowed to talk about it. It's the, if you bring up any of this, you're the worst person on the planet. And, people have just had it. I've had it. I'm not ashamed of my faith. And I'm not ashamed to, defend my faith, defend the person I believe is my Lord and Savior, and to point out like, okay, guys, you don't believe that? We're clearly on different teams there. I'm going to respect what you do. Just respect what I do. Leave me alone. Don't try to control me. Leave me alone. I'm not going to try to control you. You don't have to believe what I believe about Jesus Christ. I'm not going to tell you how to behave. You don't try to tell me how to behave. And if you're going to put out music that celebrates the denigration of black people, don't be surprised if one of these people you paid to make that kind of music eventually turns around and says, well, you know what? I'm going to make some music that is disrespectful to you. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And we're here. And so anyway, I'll give you a final thought if you have one, and we can wrap this up hopefully we'll be back on air tomorrow.
I was going to say before they cut us off anyway.
Yeah.
I think it should be across the board. Everybody should be able to get it. Be an equal opportunity insulter. I am. Whether you're white, black, Jewish, Hispanic, I don't care. If I have something that I want to say, I'm just going to say it. And I don't say it from a place of, oh, I specifically don't like this group of people. It's just something that comes out, and if it's funny, it's funny. If it's something you think about this group and it's a known characteristic or a stereotype, I guess, and it's a joke, it's hilarious. And I think that people think that you're coming from a space of being hateful when they are, because as you stated, you grew up very naive to that, and so did I. I also, that's why I don't hate white people. I didn't grow up around white people. I wasn't getting the racism that people claim that they actually grew up with. I didn't have that. When I was around white people, there was no animosity. There was no, you are an N-word or treating me differently. And so when people get upset and they're like, oh, you don't like black people. I love black people. That's all I was ever around my entire life, which is why I also like white people, because I never had that negative experience that so many others claim they had. I believe a lot of them are lying. If I'm being honest, they haven't had those negative experiences either. But, this is why I just don't come from a place of hate. And so when it comes to the Jews, I feel like, we can insult you as well. If anybody can make a joke or talk about black issues, then it should go across the board for everybody, whether you're white, Jewish, Hispanic, Asian. I remember you talking about you got in trouble for, I think, a tweet you said about an Asian guy years ago. That's the stereotype. That's what we hear. And a joke is a joke. It's funny. And I just wish people would really just get the stick out their behinds and relax a little bit and stop thinking everybody is against you and everybody, doesn't like you for your beliefs or how you were raised or the color of your skin. Just relax. And I wish people would do that, because I'm exhausted. I'm not going to walk on eggshells because I don't know Horowitz or I don't care. I don't know your last name, and I'm not concerned about it, and I'm not going to lose sleep or a meal over it any longer.
Shemeka, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow on the main channel. I think you, Boyce Watkins, and Anton Daniels from the Millionaire Morning Show, I'm going to have you guys on together to kind of talk about what I talked about on the main channel today, this black fatigue. I may try to round up a white volunteer to come join that conversation. Or maybe we'll have Steve Kim. He's probably up for that. But anyway, thank you so much, Shemeka. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Harmony Channel. We'll see you next time.
So divided, stop fighting and stand tall. We used to be a nation, one united. Now we're headed for downfall. God, let your light shine down.